You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Mai Rodriguez. The Philippines and the United States inked a deal to allow American troops more military access in strategic parts of the country as tensions continue to rise in the West Philippine Sea. The Defense Department says the 4 sites under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, will be announced when all the necessary consultations and other requirements are completed. But as early as now, some local chief executives are adamant to house EDCA sites. Let's go straight to the source of the story. Armed Forces Spokesperson Colonel Medel Aguilar. Good morning, Colonel. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Mai, and good morning to our viewers. Thank you for inviting me to your program.
Sir, before we talk about the EDCA sites, let us first focus on the devastation caused by the earthquake in Turkey and in Syria. Can you give us some updates on the team sent by the Philippines to Turkey? Where will they exactly go, and what is their mission?
The contingent from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, composed of 21 personnel from the 525th Engineering Construction Combat Battalion and 12 from the 505th Search and Rescue unit of the Philippine Air Force, have already left the country yesterday, last night. And when they arrive in Turkey, they will be received by the Turkey Disaster and Emergency Management Authority, and they will be briefed on the situation. And then after that, we expect them to be deployed already to the sites where they will be doing their work.
Again, Colonel, could you repeat when are they expected to arrive there, and what are their expertise and the capabilities of this team that will be of help to the victims?
Ma'am, they left already last night on board Turkey Airlines, and I'm not yet sure how long the travel will be. But upon arrival in Turkey, they will be received by the Turkey Disaster and Emergency Management Authority. They will brief about the situation, and then later on, they will be deployed already. So as to their capability, they have experience and training on the conduct of urban search and rescue operations. And at the same time, since the Philippine delegation is also composed of other representatives from the different agencies, such as the Metro Manila Development Authorities, the Subic Bay Development Authority, the Department of Health, and the OCD. They will also establish an emergency medical assistance center that will also provide medical care or services to those who are affected. So these are the capabilities that our contingent will provide to the affected people in Turkey.
Again, Colonel, could you repeat how many did you send from the AFP?
We sent 33 personnel, ma'am, 12 from the Search and Rescue Group of the Philippine Air Force, and 21 from the 525 Engineer Combat Battalion of the 51st Engineer Brigade under the Philippine Army.
Of course, time is of the essence because of freezing conditions in Turkey and in Syria as well. Are you keen, sir, on sending more troops should there be a need for backup?
Ma'am, as of now, the number of personnel that we sent is 33. It will depend upon the recommendation of the OCD to the national government whether to send more or not. And they will be there for a period of at least 2 weeks. So it will also depend on the OCD whether to extend their services there or not.
Of course, many countries around the world are pitching in the search and rescue operations in Turkey and in Syria. Now let's go, sir, to the 4 new EDCA sites that has been announced. Some are raising concerns over the agreement over the 4 new EDCA sites. First, why is there a need to add new sites? That is one of the questions that they were raising.
Actually, there is all the same question as why there is a need for the armed forces to develop its capability in conducting territorial defense operations. So these EDCA sites actually are where facilities will be established, will help facilitate the conduct of bilateral military training with our U.S. counterparts, especially that we are about to begin the Balikatan Exercise 38-2023. So this will help us. This will enable the armed forces of the Philippines to develop its capability to protect national territory and sovereignty, as it will also develop our relationship with our allied nations and therefore strengthen our relationship. And EDCA sites are very helpful in the conduct of SADR operations because we are very much prone to natural calamities.
Colonel, while the sites have yet to be disclosed, when can the public know where will this be? Because one of the primary calls is for transparency.
It will be up to the higher headquarters. I am referring to the Department of National Defense or the Department of Foreign Affairs to announce where these additional 4 sites will be.
Can you tell us, Colonel, why these sites were chosen? What are the features exactly?
First of all, the consideration, of course, is where the calamities usually struck the country. Second is where we need to develop our capabilities in terms of territorial defense operations.
How is your coordination with the LGUs concerned? Because Cagayan and Isabela, the LGUs there, are already expressing opposition on the possible construction of EDCA sites.
We are actually listening to the statements and sentiments of our local government officials, and we cannot afford that these issues will divide us. So we are listening. And because we need a country that is united in facing external threat. So we need the country to be united, especially in the implementation of projects that will strengthen the capability of the armed forces or the country to defend itself.
This topic is being discussed extensively already, primarily because of this question. When we say EDCA site, does this mean military base?
No, ma'am. EDCA sites are mere facilities that will be constructed or enhanced inside military AFP camps. So therefore, control and ownership of these facilities will remain with the Philippine government. It will be used on a day-to-day basis by our troops, especially when conducting operations internal and in conduct of SADR operation. But there will be time when this is needed, especially when we are not capable of doing such exercises as magnitude as Yolanda, that we will be using these facilities in tandem with the U.S. forces so that we can deliver a more efficient services to our people.
One question as well, Colonel, is the access. How much access will be given to the U.S. troops in these EDCA sites, and will the guidelines be revealed?
There are guidelines on how the U.S. forces can access these facilities, and permission or authority will be given first by the Philippine government for them to use these facilities. So there are restrictions also, which are of course guided by our existing laws and constitutional provisions, such as the non-presence of nuclear materials that will endanger the lives of our people. So there are many restrictions or guidelines. There are already published guidelines on how to use these EDCA facilities.
Well, how much will be spent for these sites, and who will be funding it?
The U.S. government has already allocated around 82 million US dollar for the construction of these facilities. So that means that there will be an additional opportunity, employment opportunity for our people in the area as they construct these facilities.
When will the actual construction begin, Colonel?
Probably, ma'am, after the EDCA sites has been declared already and announced by higher authority.
Well, joint patrols with the U.S. Has this been discussed, and is the AFP willing to hold joint maritime patrols in the South China Sea?
I think it was mentioned by Senator Escudero in his statement in support to EDCA, but this will be discussed more in detail so that there will be no issues later on.
Well, President Bongbong Marcos is now in Japan, and there are talks about the possibility of having a visiting forces agreement with Japan. What is the position of the AFP on this?
We always support the president in his initiatives because we are confident, we trust that this will be good for our country.
Colonel, does the Philippines need more VFA with other countries?
If there will be more trainings that will involve other nations, armed forces, then BFA will be the legal authority that will allow them to stay in our country.
Well, Colonel, let us discuss now calls for the proposal for mandatory ROTC. Senators are now discussing the possible return of this. Is it about time to bring back mandatory ROTC?
Yes, ma'am. It is already long delayed because what we need in this country is strong security capability, and the armed forces is only good enough probably for some time, but if there will be a need to mobilize forces, then we need to have a strong reserve force that will beef up our capability.
Colonel, how to prevent abuses? There were certain abuses before, and this is one of the concerns raised by other groups.
We have learned from the past, and measures are already instituted within the organization to make sure that the not so good things that happened in the past will no longer happen in the future.
Colonel, kaya po ba i-roll out ito? There are concerns raised on manpower, and in how many years po ba i-implement?
First, I hope that we can get rid already of the internal security problem that we have, because only if that is already resolved, then we can focus already our focus and attention, including our resources, to developing our territorial defense capability. Second, this is already being discussed at the Congress, so we will wait whether what will be approved, what will be funded for the implementation of the mandatory ROTC.
All right, thank you so much for your time this morning on The Source. AFP Spokesperson Colonel Medel Aguilar. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Mai Rodriguez. You're watching CNN Philippines.